So today on the homestead I'm working on moving our fresh apple storage from underneath the house to a freezer that we just inherited recently, and I just checked the freezer temperature on the lowest setting there, the warmest, and it's still about 18 degrees, which is pretty cold. A little too cold for apple storage, so I'm going to work on getting the temperature thermostat tweaked a little bit here, so we can see if we can get it up to just below freezing, maybe about 30 degrees. 32 somewhere in there would be a good storage temperature for apples, so I'm going to work on that here and bring you guys along and kind of show you what I'm doing. So this is a small upright freezer, and I was able to put it in my green shed here where our water filtration and little pump house is, and fits in there quite nicely and has power in here and everything. It'll protect it a little bit from the elements. So you can see it right in here, just have it right in the door here, and that should make it easy access to for putting boxes of apples in there and other fruit that can be stored at a cold temperature. So here's the little freezer here, and put my thermometer in there. Looks like the humidity is a little above 50 in here, so I have a little humidity gauge there, and then so this has even gone down below. So that's about 10 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's pretty cold. So I'm going to see what I can do some adjusting here with it. So this is the thermostat for this freezer here, and it's a fairly simple one. It just has a little dial on here. You can set the temperature. Then it has a little wire that comes out of it here and is attached to the bottom of this shelf here. There's a little loop of it, and it's just screwed on there. So there's a screw holding this open plate on, and so I'll take that off and see if I can get the dial off, and then behind that there should be the thermostat. We can see if there's any screws on there, adjustment screws that we can adjust and try to increase the temperature of it. So I'm going to unplug it here and try to get into it and show you what's going on in there. So right underneath here is the little screw. Okay. See how this comes off here. So we got to be careful of the wire here. There. Okay. Yeah. Slide this guy off. And let's see how this is attached. There's some tabs. If they can squeeze to get it out of there. There we go. Okay. Got it. Oop, there's a screw. Okay, so put the screw back in there so we don't lose it. Or not. And just use it as a trade-in. Okay, so here's the thermostat here. So let's take a look here at what we can find. Alright, so we've got some wires coming into it. We got a ground wire up here. And let's see here. So here's the dial for it. Now, fixing on the back side here, conveniently of course. Let's see what we got here. Not a whole lot. There's two little holes on the back here, which may be where we can adjust it. or there just may not be an adjustment for it. Alright, so I got a flashlight here and looking in the little hole where the little dial is attached, and I think I see a little set screw in there, so I'm going to check in there and see if that does anything. So right in here there's a little hole with a set screw in there, so I'm going to see if that adjusting that does anything to the temperature here. Okay, so I got that adjusted. We'll see if that makes a difference or makes it colder or warmer, and then we'll maybe screw it. I screwed it out, so I'll screw it back in if needs to be adjusted in that direction. There's the wide side, there's the narrow side. Okay. So, okay, there's the off position. So on should be right about there. Okay, let's get plugged in here again. Okay, so yeah, pretty warm in here already. Up past 40 degrees in here. So I want to close the door and let it cool down, and we'll see when it shuts off, what temperature it is when it shuts off, and that will tell us if we're going the right direction or not. Alright, so I am back out here. I was inside doing some work out here, just kind of left the freezer cool down on its own here. Let me close it up real quick here. But anyway, went out here and checked it, so its temperature is down to below zero. Looks like maybe 5 or 10 degrees below zero, so unscrewing the set screw did change it, because it was down only to about 10 degrees Fahrenheit before, so it's dropped quite a bit. So that means if I screw it in to the right there, it should increase the temperature. So that's how you figure it out. Just try one way and see which direction the temperature goes. So I'm going to adjust it the other way by a couple turns past what it was before, and we'll see if we can get it to come up here. Okay. It's pretty cold in here. That thing off. Okay. Now some of these thermostats will have two set screws. Like they have like a kick on and a kick off point. This one only seems to have one that I've been able to find, so that's something to keep in mind. So if you see two screws, you got to figure out which one is which. Start and stop. So anyway, so it's next morning here, and I wanted to show you the results of my adjustments here. So last adjustment I made was to screw it in quite far, the little set screw, and then I was able to turn the regular dial adjustment a little bit colder, and I'm able to hold it at about 30 degrees to 34 degrees, somewhere in that range it's holding. So that's exactly where I want it for storing apples. Is just about freezing, and they'll handle the freezing quite well. If it gets down another degree or two, it won't be a problem. So I'm ready to put it all back together, and seems to be working fairly well here. I was able to put some apples in there last night, and they seem to be doing fine. So you can see here I have a crate full of apples in here. These are just some of the last ones that we have that are fresh. So we have the thermometer up here. So this is, I've had the door open here for a couple minutes here now, so it's gone up. It's about 35 right now, and it's about 75% humidity. So fairly humid, but that's good because the apples tend to dehydrate. In fact, you can tell they get a little bit shriveled over time. So getting a little bit higher humidity will allow them to not be as shriveled. Okay, so I just need to shove this back in here and put my little plate back on and the screw and my dial. Get that put back on and we're ready for business here. There we have it. Okay, I hope you found that video helpful. It's really important to be able to find ways to keep your produce in a good condition, and having an extra refrigerator or freezer, just a little bit of electricity can allow you to keep these things. So always look for an opportunity to get a freezer off of Craigslist or something like that locally, or someone's giving one away. Don't turn it down. Find some use for it in storing some produce. So this one was given to me because they didn't want it anymore, the previous owners. So I was able to get that without any cost to there. So we'll just have to pay for the electricity to keep it cold, and it won't be all year round. So we can shut this off during the summertime, and whenever the apples run out, we'll just shut the thing off and wait till the fall again when the apples come along, and we'll put some more in there and keep them for another 4 or 5 months or so, however long the apples are around. We can store pears in there too, or any other amount of produce. So we may want to adjust the temperature. If we can get the temperature up, keep it above freezing, then we can store other things like root vegetables, things like that in there that would be adversely affected by freezing temperatures. So anyway, I'll see you on the next video.